A few times per week, I get a question about my thoughts on using Shockwave in the treatment process. And I decided it would be best to make a video going over my experiences using it and the pros and cons of incorporating it into the treatment process. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Matt Maggio, and I'm a non surgical expert in chronic pain treatment. My focus is on finding and fixing nerves that become stuck to muscles with a glue like substance called adhesion, also known as scar tissue, and reducing inflammation from chronic pain naturally without the use of medications or injections. This leads to a significant increase in flexibility, function, and long lasting pain relief. I'm also the creator of the Peak Method, where we teach overworked massage therapists a new treatment system that cuts session times in half and eliminates the frustration of inconsistent results so they can avoid burnout and help more people get out of pain. All right, let's get into the video. These are my thoughts on shockwave therapy. They're my beliefs, my opinions, anything like that. If you find yourself getting offended by anything I say, I don't know what to tell you. You're just a simple snowflake, but this is why I make these videos. These are my experiences and what I've seen with shockwave therapy treatments. So my own experience using a shockwave in my clinic, I had a Master Pulse 1 radial pressure wave from Stores Medical. I've had that for about 3 years now. That was the one that I bought. The original cost of that was $8,000. They did try to sell me one that was like $20,000 that was like even more fancy and all these bells and whistles. So I start with a more like middle of the road model from what I had. What did I like about it? Well, first off, the setup was relatively easy. You know, the instructions were pretty clear forth. When I got it out of the box, it was easy to set up. I got it running right away. So that process was really easy. They were great to work with, easy to get the thing ordered, worked with me on payment plans and options like that. So I had really good experience with the company as a whole. When I started using it, I realized that it was taking a lot of pressure off of my hands. I wasn't using my hands nearly as much as I used to. In some of the areas where I was having a lot of discomfort with a lot of gripping and things like that, I would use the shockwave instead, and it took a lot of pressure off my hands. The cleanup and the maintenance of the machine was relatively easy, you know, just a quick little wipe down at the end of the day and a few little things here and there. So maintenance wasn't like anything too crazy, especially in the beginning process than when I had it. It was what I found was it was really useful in low back and sciatica clients. Those were the areas where you'd have to put a lot more force, use a lot more grip and leverage using my body. And with that, it basically just eliminated that part. I actually hate treating low back and sciatica cases for a vast array of reasons. Mostly it's just because the client doesn't want to do anything in between to actually make it better. And I tend to be more focused on like upper extremity stuff, but I did find that it was really useful for low back and sciatica clients. What I didn't like about it, the machine itself was very loud and it shook a lot, which was a problem in a shared office building. So I had I had a floor myself in my office building where I had like hardwood floors and I had people above and below me. And when I'd use it, it would like basically like rattle the whole room. So I got a lot of complaints from my neighbors on that one. And it was just really, really loud in the room. The other thing that really started becoming a problem, and I didn't realize it at first, was I started using it for almost everything that came in. I was like, oh, I'm just going to use the shockwave here. I'm going to use it there. I'm going to use it there. And my manual therapy skills like really slipped. I see this a lot. There's so many people out there that have forms of shockwave therapy, and they're just kind of like randomly having the client say, hey, it hurt. Where's it hurt? And they just apply the area there and do that. And then they lose their skills as manual therapists. I also got a bit lazy in my evaluation and palpation where I was like, oh, I'm going to let the shockwave figure it out. I'm going to scan the area and the client's going to say, hey, that's where I feel it. That's where it got lit up. So I was getting away from like the critical thinking and slowing down and kind of just going through the motions with the shockwave. Next thing was I was having trouble with getting the treatment dosage correct, and clients were sore for too long. Like at first, I wasn't really, when you have your hands and you have that feedback, you can feel the tissue. Sometimes with the shockwave, like it can really get in there and produce a lot of force into the area. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. And what I was seeing is like normally with like manual therapy, the clients were sore for a day or two. I was seeing this with shockwave clients of like being sore for like 4 or 5 days. I saw it with myself as well as I was getting treated, and it was just something that wasn't a real good experience from seeing that. So what are my thoughts on adding it to a massage therapy clinic, like because this channel and this whole, peak method and soft tissue revolution is geared towards massage therapists. First is just weighing costs versus how much it will be used. Honestly, when it's done correctly, I think there's about 20% in the body that you can use it, and that's what I believe. And you can use it more for lower body. So maybe if you're like more of like a specialty in like lower body injuries, like low back, sciatica, hip, and stuff like that, Shockwave might be more useful for that. I don't find as much value in it for upper stuff, especially nerve entrapments in the neck and the shoulder, because that treatment dosage just becomes way too aggressive, and you don't really get that touch and feel where those nerve entrapments are smaller and more precise. Where down low, you can kind of go in there and just blast away and get some good results for the lower body. Next is it's going to have less reliance on the client's symptom presentation and more on the functional evaluation. So a lot of these clinics have these like $50,000 shockwave machines, and they don't really know what's going on. They just start rubbing in an area and see what happens and if it works. And they don't really take a history. They don't do an evaluation. They don't do palpation. They're just kind of doing like a shotgun approach. And it makes you kind of lazy as a clinician. But the other thing is palpation is the most important before using the treatment. Really taking your time to palpate and feel where your hands are, feel where the restriction is. Don't just randomly scan in an area if you do want to add this to your clinic. Why don't I use it anymore? It's actually sitting in the storage shelf right now. For all those reasons, I found that I was losing my skills as a manual therapist. I was treating too aggressively. I wasn't thinking critically. I was relying on it way too much. And I remember there was this one day where the machine wasn't working right, and it I had to send it in to get repaired, like the head of it. And I remember I had like this panic attack before that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to need this today for all my clients. And I was like, hey, dummy, you're a manual therapist. You did this with your hands before. You know how to do that. And that's when I realized I was relying on it way too much. So overall, not a huge fan of it. And I think, that's why I made the video, so you can just decide for yourself. And I just gave my insights on it as well. I appreciate you watching the video. Share any insights you might have gotten in the comments section below. I try my best to engage and talk with everyone that reaches out. You can also share this with other providers that it might help. Do me a solid and get the word out about what I'm doing and what I'm teaching. And lastly, if you like what I'm sharing, you like what I'm teaching, you want to learn more, you can go download our free training modules. Links to do that wherever you're consuming this video, where we go through and show you our system from start to finish and really get you on this path to being a true solutions provider, not just doing services, and stand out in your area as someone that can truly solve problems. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.